Amazon rainforest, the world's largest tropical forest, the lungs of the earth, home to the longest river. I know all that, and so do you, but that's just the non-interesting stuff. There's a much deeper and mysterious side of this jungle that scientists and explorers have been scrambling to uncover. In this video, get ready to be blown away as I reveal the mind-boggling discoveries that have been made within the Amazon rainforest. From the wildest creatures to the most bizarre flowers, there's something for everyone. Number 1. The lizard that can walk on water. I know not everyone is a fan of lizards, but hear me out. Part of an iguana family, this one grows about 2 feet and has a whip-like tail. This lizard, known as Basilisk, has somewhat of an unusual nickname. More often than not, people call it a Jesus Christ lizard. What an unusual name, right? I know, well, that name comes from their ability to walk on water, or if we're being real, they can run. They spend most of their time in trees and love to be near water. Using this superpower is for when they're about to hunt or get hunted. So they jump from a tree and run on the surface of the water. I know you're thinking, how can they even do this? Well, their long toes on their back feet with fringes of skin spread in the water and help them keep floating. They run incredibly fast, slapping their feet on the water to create tiny air pockets that keep them from sinking. The most surprising part is that they can cover almost 5 feet in just a second and can keep running for about 15 feet before they have to start swimming. Impressive, right? Number 2. Biggest flower in the world. In the many wonders of the Amazon is the world's largest individual flower, Rafflesia arnoldii, otherwise known as giant padma. This parasitic plant doesn't have any roots or stems, so it grows inside its host, the tetrastigma vine, and absorbs water and nutrients from it. It takes about 18 months for the flower to develop from tissue within the vine into a cabbage-sized bud, which then takes around 6 to 9 months to mature. Only after that does it bloom to the full size, which sadly lasts for just a few days. The largest of its kind was discovered back in 2020, weighing a solid 20 pounds and standing at an impressive height of 111 centimeters. But that's not even the most surprising part. It's also known as a corpse flower. Why? Well, because it emits some chemicals that contain sulfur. This chemical makes it smell like rotting flesh. I guess everything has its imperfections. But hey, even this imperfection has a purpose here. This smell attracts beetles, flies, and other insects for pollination. Sadly, though, as time passes, this flower becomes even more endangered. In fact, 25 out of the 42 Rafflesia have been classified as critically endangered. Number 3. The turtle with a flat head. Now let's move on to the giant turtle from Amazon. But hey, isn't it just a huge carnivorous turtle? What's the big deal? Well, you see, this one is quite unique. Matamata, or as scientists call it, Chelus fimbriata, doesn't even have jaws, beak, or even teeth. Not to mention, its mouth looks somewhat like a mailbox. And this freshwater turtle looks like a piece of wood with spiky, ridged scales. With fleshy flaps on its triangular head and neck covered in bumps and ridges, this turtle easily blends into riverbed vegetation and often gets mistaken for algae or branches. It even waves its skin flaps in water to sense if there's been any movement or vibrations, which ultimately makes it aware of any danger or prey around. Now, another thing about this turtle is that it literally vacuums up its food. And no, I don't mean this figuratively. It waits patiently for prey, then slowly approaches, using its camouflage. When the moment is right, it strikes like a vacuum cleaner, creating a powerful suction that sucks in the unsuspecting fish or invertebrate, leaving them unable to escape. Number 4. New species of Anaconda. Up until recently, we thought the biggest species of snake was the reticulated python, but a recent discovery in the Amazon has changed that. In case you don't know, the python averages 20 feet 5 inches long. But on February 16th, 2024, a group of scientists discovered the northern green anaconda in the Amazon region. This particular species of anaconda weighs around 440 pounds, which is 3 times the weight of an average human. It measures 26 feet in length and is as thick as a car tire. Now I know what you're thinking. Weren't green anacondas already found in the northern parts of South America, like Venezuela, Suriname, and French Guiana? Well, yes. But this one is an entirely different species. Even if they look similar to each other at first, the difference between the two is huge. The genetic difference between both species of snakes is about 5.5%. But that doesn't sound too much, right? Well, did you know the genetic difference between humans and chimpanzees is only around 2%? How different does it sound now? Number 5. First contact of Amazon isolated tribe with modern world. It's not just plants or animals that have been a part of the mystery of the Amazon. There are some humans out there who have no idea about today's world as well. Reportedly, there have been at least 80 isolated groups in the Amazon rainforest. One of them finally made contact with the modern world through a settled indigenous community near the Envira River in Brazil's Acre state, close to the border with Peru. They speak a language that's part of the Panoan linguistic group, spoken in western Brazil, eastern Peru, and northern Bolivia. The tribe reported that they had suffered a violent attack by non-Indians in neighboring Peru. Imagine meeting others like you for the first time, and they attack you. What a bad first impression. Allegedly, the attacks were related to illegal logging and drug trafficking. 7 members of the tribe contracted influenza after coming into contact with individuals from the outside. The affected individuals were provided medical treatment at a government facility and were later released to return to their respective villages. Number 6. The insect that looks just like a leaf. Some creatures truly take the word master of disguise to the next level. When you look at these insects, it just looks like you're staring at a leaf singing, which sounds pretty unbelievable. So's the fact that there's an insect that looks just like a leaf. Another one of the Amazon wonders is this insect, which is part of a leaf-mimicking group, Pterocrozini. But hold on, these bugs aren't just plainly green. They've literally mastered the art of life mimicry. Some of them have speckles just like leaves, while others give the decaying or chewed leaf look. In fact, there are some which look like they have holes in them. How is that even possible? Well, these parts of insects just have a translucent membrane window. What if I tell you that these insects are so different from each other that about 22% of all species of Pterocrozini were discovered and described more than once under different names? That raises the question, what's the need for so much diversity? Well, the main predators of these insects are monkeys, which we all know are pretty smart. So, if all katydids looked the same, they wouldn't be able to survive. That explains the leaf mimic part. What an interesting insect. Number 7. Pink dolphins. This one looks like it's straight out of a Barbie movie franchise. This Amazon river dolphin, commonly known as the Boto or pink river dolphin, is the largest one out of all 4 dolphin species. It's about 8 feet long and weighs around 450 pounds. In the traditional beliefs of the Amazon, the Boto appears in human form, normally after shapeshifting into handsome men so they can take humans to their underwater cities. But let's talk about the real thing. Why is their color pink? Supposedly, it's because of the scar tissue from rough games or fighting amongst themselves. Typically, though, male Botos are brighter and bigger than the females. The interesting thing is that the brighter the pink is, the more attractive the males become to females. Oh, and guess what this apex predator feasts on? Piranhas. You heard that right, among many other things like baby anacondas and caimans as well. The only threat to these beautiful creatures is, as you can guess, humans. They either hunt them for catfish bait or accidentally trap them in gill nets. Number 8. The river that can burn. Up next is the boiling river of the Amazon, definitely not somewhere you want to go for a swim. In Peru, there is a river called Timpishka that is located in the Amazon rainforest and is known for its extremely high temperature. The local people, who speak the Ashaninka language, have given it this name, which means boiled with the heat of the sun. The water in this river can reach temperatures as high as 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hot enough to cause severe second or third degree burns if someone falls into it even for a few seconds. The high temperature of the river has caused the death of many frogs and smaller critters that jumped into it. It's considered to be a mystical place by the locals. According to the beliefs of the local shamans, the river's boiling water is the result of the presence of a giant serpent spirit called Yakumama, which is also known as the Mother of the Waters. Now let's talk about why the water is so hot. Despite being far away from any volcanoes or geothermal vents, the river's high temperature is likely due to the geothermal gradient of the Earth. The theory suggests that rainwater falls on the surface of the Amazon rainforest and moves down into the Earth through deep-rooted spots, where it becomes heated according to the geothermal gradient. This heated water is then likely forced to the Earth's surface through fault-fed hot springs, which increases the river's temperature along its expanse. Truly one of the most astonishing wonders of the Amazon jungle. Number 9. How the Sahara keeps the Amazon green. You know what they say, opposites attract. On the one hand, we have the massive hot and dry Sahara desert, and on the other side is our Amazon rainforest, which is full of greenery and wildlife. Now, there's one thing not a lot of people know. That greenery you see in Amazon is all thanks to the Sahara Desert. Every year, about 28 million tons of dust from the Sahara falls to the surface of the Amazon basin. And don't take that digit lightly. That's enough dust to fill more than 100,000 semi-trucks. How's that good? Isn't it just dust? Well, when all that dust falls over every year, it has about 22,000 tons of phosphorus. That's just about enough to make up for the phosphorus lost from rain and flooding every year. All that phosphorus makes this dust the perfect fertilizer for the Amazon. Nature truly works in mysterious ways, doesn't it? Number 10. Poison dart frogs. If you think your ex was toxic, you need to check this frog out because I bet you'll be proven wrong. Poison. Dart frogs are one of the most toxic creatures on Earth. These frogs can be of multiple different colors: black, yellow, red, green, copper, or even blue. And you know what they say, if nature didn't care to hide it, it definitely doesn't care about you. These bright colors are a warning to the potential predators to stay away. Even if some were stupid enough to not listen, well, let me tell you something about them. Their name comes from the indigenous Embera people of Colombia, using these frogs as poison for centuries by placing them as tips of their blow dart guns. Trust me, they knew what was up, because these frogs have a natural poison in their skin that can paralyze or even kill predators. The speculation is that the poison is from their diet of extremely poisonous ants. Regardless, one of the most dangerous types of poison dart frogs is the golden poison dart frog. They have enough poison to kill 20,000 mice or 10 grown men. Scary, right? Number 11. World's biggest spider. Goliath bird-eating tarantula, the world's biggest spider by mass and body length, has a body that is about 12 centimeters long and has a leg span of up to 28 centimeters. Surprisingly, it doesn't even eat birds that much. Instead, it's somewhat of an opportunistic feeder that targets insects, frogs, small snakes, beetles, rodents, and even bats, basically anything smaller than it. And no, it doesn't build webs to catch prey like other spiders. This tarantula has the advantage of its size, so it sneaks up on its prey and pounces on the victim, injecting it with venom, which paralyzes them. Then, the prey is taken to the burrow, where this giant spider will vomit juices that break down the soft tissue onto the victim. This allows the spider to just suck up the liquid. Why do they do that? Simply because they don't have teeth. Oh, but they do have fangs that fold under its body. But to use them, it has to strike downward on the prey. Now, the interesting thing is that even though it has 8 eyes, it just can't see that much. It relies on all its hair, allowing it to sense the vibrations around it. That's not all. It even makes a hissing noise by rubbing strands on its legs together that's loud enough that you can hear it from a 15-foot distance. Number 12. Bey ape. The Bey ape, also known as the Bondo mystery ape, was the species of great ape that scientists had to do a lot of work to explore. Its discovery dates back to the 1990s when a wildlife photographer named Ammon found skulls at the Royal Museum of Central Africa in Tervuren, Belgium, which were believed to have come from a remote part of the northern Congo. These skulls were classified as gorillas, but the place where they were discovered had no traces or population of gorillas. So came the assumption it's probably a new ape species, the Bey apes. Hunters in the area had told tales of giant apes who howled at the moon, killed lions, caught fishes, and were immune to poisonous darts. Scientists found traces of these mystery apes, but were unable to locate them. Because the place where they were allegedly found was the Bey Forest, one of the deadliest places on the planet, they were eventually successful in their quest. But what they found was not what they had expected. DNA tests later confirmed that these apes were chimpanzees and not a new species. They had different diets and cultures and even a smashing culture. Before you try to guess, it means they use sticks to break open hard-shelled fruits and smash snails for food. They are also bipedal and have a height of around 5 to 5.5 feet. And these apes aren't really aggressive towards humans, but boy are they fearless. As soon as they come face to face with humans, they'll stare at them and then slide away quietly. Number 13. 81 ancient villages. Like I said, there's a lot in Amazon that has gone unnoticed for centuries. And one of those things was the remains of 81 villages dating back to the times even before the European colonizers arrived. All of them were connected by roads and located in the tropical forest of what is now Brazil. They're spread across 1,800 kilometers between the Juruena and Aripuana rivers. Theories are that all these villages could have been inhabited by up to 1 million people. Not just that. The area was allegedly inhabited continuously from 1250 to 1500 CE. Plus, there was the discovery of dark, fertile soil, a common characteristic of long-term human habitation. This means these were permanent communities rather than temporary settlements. There are no remains of any structures, which could be because they used straws and leaves to make houses, just like the modern-day Amazonian tribes. Wait, there's more. Among all those villages, there's one thing in common: geoglyphs. Earthworks in squares, circles, and hexagonal shapes were discovered. Across 400,000 square kilometers of the Amazon, there are approximately 1,300 geoglyphs of different sizes, from 30 meters to nearly 400 meters in size. What were they for? We're not really sure, but it's possible that these geoglyphs could have been defensive fortifications for the settlements. Anyways, that's a pretty huge discovery, right? Number 14. Human sacrifice. The craziest discovery for the last. Explorers and scientists have found evidence of what is believed to be the largest single incident of mass child sacrifice in the Americas, and possibly in world history, on Peru's northern coast. This event, which occurred approximately 550 years ago, involved the ritual sacrifice of over 140 children and 200 young llamas in the area of what was once the capital of the Chimu Empire. The Chimu Empire once dominated a huge territory and was spread over 600 miles along the Pacific coast and interior valleys from modern-day Peru to Ecuador and Lima. Chan, the capital city of this ancient civilization, was at one time among the largest cities in the Americas. The sacrificial site, known as Huanchaquito Las Llamas, was preserved in dry sand for more than 500 years before archaeologists revealed the remains of more than a dozen children in a single day. The sacrificed children were aged from approximately 5 to 14, with the majority falling between 8 and 12 years old. All of them were mostly buried facing west, towards the sea. On the other hand, the llamas, all under 18 months old, were placed facing east, towards the high peaks of the Andes. The skeletal remains of the sacrificed children and animals revealed signs of sternum cuts and rib dislocations. And as heartbreaking as it sounds, it means that their chests were likely ripped open and their hearts removed as part of the ritual. The excavation at Huanchaquito Las Llamas also revealed 3 adult bodies as well. One of them was male, and the other 2 were female. The thing is, these bodies were quite close to the sacrificed children and llamas. Not to mention, they all had blunt force trauma to the head and didn't even have any grave goods. This could possibly mean they were involved in the sacrificial event and were unalived later on. Based on evidence from a dried mud layer discovered in the eastern, least disturbed portion of the 500-square-foot site, researchers assume that all human and animal victims were ritually killed in a single event. In that mud layer, there were footprints of adults with sandals, dogs, barefoot children, and young llamas. The conclusions drawn from the excavation at Huanchaquito Las Llamas could provide scientific evidence for the largest single-mass child sacrifice event known in world history. That's about all. Which discovery surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.